So you want to get a higher rank. Getting the rank you want isn't as hard as you make it out to be, so stay tuned. Now I'm going to divide this video into two parts. One, what you can do to affect your rank, and two, what tips you can follow. Now a lot of this falls on you. You are the key person when it comes to affecting your rank. Everything you do can and will hurt or help you in your journey. Step 1. Get better. Now this is a vague phrase that can have a lot of different meanings. The general idea is this: you need experience to become a better individual player. Experience equals skill, at least normally. On a second note, getting better entails that your average game is getting better and better. This means that you're more consistent at having good games. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that people do not warm up. Warming up minimally affects your skill, but it does help generate consistency. Your body becomes used to this routine, leading to consistent performance on your end. If you want ideas on how to warm up, check out my video where I go over how to warm up. You don't need to follow this plan exactly, as it can be very time consuming, but taking a few ideas from that video can definitely help you out in the long run. I know when I started doing it last summer, my headshot percentage shot up by about 15 to 20%, for example. Now let's go to the next point. Step 2. Solo queue occasionally. While this will contradict my next few points, it is beneficial to solo queue occasionally, as it will help you face more unpredictable environments and become a more adaptable individual. I highly recommend that you don't do this every time for various reasons, but doing it occasionally can definitely be beneficial. Step 3. Be supportive of your teammates. I've seen countless people rage at other people for no reason other than to vent. Cussing out your team or getting angry doesn't help anyone. If a player on your team is playing bad and you call them out, one of two things will likely happen. One, they will shut down and perform even more poorly, or two, they will get angry and start rushing everywhere trying to do something, and die within 15 seconds into the round, hurting the team's chances even more. So what do you do if you have a teammate with 5 kills 20 rounds in? Be supportive. Ask them if you can help them with anything or if they need anything. Supporting them will positively influence their gameplay. Step 4. Play with your game, but within the team strategy. If you're not an opper, don't consistently op in MM. Stick to what you're good at and practice different weapons in your off time, and then use those weapons occasionally in matchmaking. Along with this thought, this doesn't mean go rogue. You need to play within the team and not for yourself. This means buying when your team buys and going toward the site your IGL calls. Lurking by B site when your team calls an A rush doesn't help anyone, and usually hurts your chances of winning directly or indirectly. Poor decision making and offset buys may be detrimental to the team. Step 5. Unlike Step 2, this step calls for playing with friendly and good players, as in queuing with them. Now this doesn't mean necessarily playing with your friends. If you want to win, it may come to a point where you need to break away from friends if they become too riled up. The idea is that if you are with a lot of friends, they, and maybe you, just want to have fun and won't really try. This isn't always the case, but be careful. Now, what do I mean by playing with friendly and good players? Can they be your close friends? Sure, or maybe not, it depends. What I recommend is that whenever you play matchmaking, for example, if you run into a good or even a really great player who's very friendly and supportive, add him and ask to play with him next game. The reasoning behind this is simple. You can't predict matchmaking teammates. Having a guy you can count on lowers the probability of getting a toxic teammate. In addition to friendly people, add talented people. Playing with a star player only helps your chances of winning and lowers the stress you will have in future games you play. But be careful. You can always run into hackers. This has happened to me so many times. Recently, for example, I was invited to a lobby of a friend of mine, and the other guy seemed pretty nice and even added me. But 2 games later, one dropped 37 kills and was vac banned 3 days later. I lost my rank and basically got demoted. The moral of the story is add legit, good, and friendly players to aid you on your quest. Now let's get into a few tips you can follow that can help. Tip 1. Buy smartly and efficiently. My last video goes in depth about this. Buy within the team first, but also know when to buy pistols and armors and rifles, etc. Tip 2. Step outside of your comfort zone. If all you do is use a P90 and bait your teammates, you won't learn anything. Therefore, slowly integrating different weapons and roles into your game can definitely be a help. Maybe try entry fragging occasionally or opping. Even if your KD suffers, don't be discouraged. Getting better takes some scratches and bumps along the way. On the flip side, don't try to do everything new in one match. Be cautious and smart about it. Tip 3. Know your rank. Oftentimes, ranks represent different playstyles. If you're a Nova, your gameplay may not translate to a Silver game. Likewise, if you're an MG, your game may not translate to an LE game fluidly. Know your personnel and play accordingly. Tip 4 and the last tip. Even though it may seem trivial, it helped me rank up considerably when I first started. Don't rush on CT. It seems obvious, but if you do actively follow this, I guarantee you will gain a few ranks. One of the biggest mistakes I see in low ranks is people rushing tons on Dust 2 or Apps on Inferno or whatever. Can this be a smart move? Sure. It can be unpredictable and beneficial for map control, but most people don't do this intelligently. They'll rush into no man's land 5 seconds into the round and cost their team a bomb site. If you practice staying back on site, you'll force your aim to become better, you'll eliminate your nerves in tight situations, and you'll force the enemy into their discomfort zone. Waiting for the enemy can help in many facets, but the patience involved can greatly benefit your psyche, which will only help your team. Obviously, there can be exceptions, but following this rule of thumb is generally beneficial. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any feedback or have any suggestions for future videos, please be sure to leave a comment. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.
We move forward, stay positive and hope for the best. I'm obsessed, I want it all, dog, and nothing less. I'd rather be a dead man than to live with no success.